Coming up on today's show, we'll take you through all of the ooky spooky Halloween treats you can see at this cinema this week.
I'll be reviewing the film Bros.
And we'll be looking at the premiere that we held for Black Adam. Hello and welcome to What's On at Cineworld Cinemas. I am Luke Owen.
And I've come dressed as the scariest thing I can think of, an out-of-work actor, Dan Layton.
Dan, it's wonderful to see you here,
Yes,
as
and
always.
and you.
Yeah, work is tough at the
Yeah,
moment.
you know, not doing any of it, really, to be honest.
No. Dan, we're going to be talking this week about the ooky spooky Halloween season, because as we all know, you love horror movies.
Oh, I famously am very good at horror movies.
Oh, I love them.
Here's the thing. I love horror movies. I think they're brilliant. I just can't hack them. I'm not good at this. This is not my energy. They're all good through, like... I've seen all horror movies like this.
Uh-huh.
Apologies to the audio team.
Sorry, Terry.
The audio team being Terry.
But I love what we're doing at Cineworld here at the moment, which is that, you know, there are smiles on at the pictures at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, this week's release is Pray for the Devil. But
Yeah.
what we've also got are these one-off screenings of classic horror movies.
Yeah, I love the option, the ability, the chance to see these classic things the way they were supposed to be
the
seen.
big screen.
I always talk about that week we came back in 2020, and I saw Shawshank Redemption. I'd never seen it before, and I saw it in the cinema, and I spent the credits just crying. Not only because I was thrilled to be back in the cinema, but because it was grateful to see such an incredible film the way it was designed. And
Yeah.
I think the opportunity to see classic horror movies is because horror is such a communal experience, isn't it? You want to be there with your popcorn and your friends and like nudging them when something scary is going on. You want to be able to like dive in. If you're on a date, you can dive in and like cuddle together. And it's like all cute. I think it's great. I'm all for it.
We've got some really good ones coming up as well. We've got Paranorman on Friday the 28th, which is today. We have Trick or Treat, which is on Sunday. And then on the 31st, on actual Halloween, The Thing 4K restoration, the 40th anniversary, as well as the 4DX screening of Poltergeist, also the 40th anniversary 4K restorations. Those are both on Halloween night.
I love Poltergeist in 4DX. I think that's absolutely genius.
So good.
Imagine the flashing lights.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk immersive, Poltergeist literally sucks you into the TV kind of thing. Like the idea of you being sucked in with the 4DX, I'm all for that. That's great. That's clever.
As we've said in the last couple of weeks as well, this is a great mix of movies. Like Paranorman, you can take
family.
the wee ones to go and see that as well. So I think that's amazing. The Thing is one of the greatest movies of all time. One of the all-time great horror movies.
On a screenwriting front as well, like when you come to the actual craft of filmmaking,
Yes.
The Thing is up there.
It's my favourite John Carpenter movie. I think it's one of Kurt Russell's best performances he's ever done.
Yeah.
It is just so immersive and so cinematic, and I'm really excited. I haven't actually seen the 4K restoration of this yet, so I'm really looking forward to this. And then, the 4DX version of Poltergeist. But then for me, the one that really, really excites me is Trick or Treat.
Please.
So Trick or Treat is a movie that, I kind of mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, but as a horror community, we embraced Trick or Treat when it came out. It's like 2007 this film came out. And it was on at the pictures for a very short period of time. But as horror fans, we were all over the internet. Those early like forum days being like, oh man, have you seen Trick or Treat? Trick or Treat's amazing, this, that, and the other.
Like a cult, literally cult classic.
It is a cult classic.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic movie. It's 5 like interweaving stories. It's an anthology movie that's sort of like centered around this Halloween night. And it is just a brilliant, because every story has got something unique to it. And every story you finish, you're like, oh man, it can't get any better than that. And then the next one's like, oh my God, that was like, if not as good, it's almost better than the previous one. And then you find yourself ranking like which of the stories you enjoyed the most. And I'm so thrilled it's getting this another lease on life here on the big screen.
It's a great
15 years later.
It's a great little roster of movies for, you know, stuff that if you love a classic, you'll see a classic, stuff, the family things. And then things like that where if you're looking at the list of things, you're like, okay, well, I've seen, say you watched The Thing quite recently or anything like that, or you're looking for something else. Trick or Treat is right there and you've never seen it. Like you've not had the opportunity like me to get it pushed into all the cinemas is fantastic.
And here's what I'm hoping. If this does well here, we might finally get the sequel that we've been asking for this movie since 2007.
Trick S Treat. Just...
I mean, we could also. I could talk about the Thing a little bit more,
Please.
if you'd like as well,
It saved me from the joke I'm making.
because you've seen The Thing.
Yes, yeah. I watched it at university while studying horror because I love horror films.
It's just such an exceptional movie. It is a movie that my wife had never seen it before, and we watched it together, and I could feel her getting like not just engrossed in the movie, but like the tension, that's the clawing of the armchair of like not knowing who a baddie is.
Yeah.
Like if you don't see the movie, it is about a thing that essentially just assimilates and just you create a perfect replica of someone. So a bit like a Invasion of the Body Snatchers type situation, and it's you just do not know who you cannot trust. It's actually also a brilliant board game that they made, like the Outpost 31 game. And that's because it works so well as a board game because the movie is so great.
Yeah.
And as I said, I've not seen the 4K restoration of this yet, but I want to see this 4K restoration so bad.
It's the thing of that was not a joke, but it was a joke.
But it worked.
The thing about The Thing is that it is the perfect example of this sort of social anxiety model of horror, which is, I always talk about it because it's the thing I think got the best mark on my essay on, so I feel very attached to the social anxiety model of horror. It's the idea that the call is coming from inside the house, the killer lives on your street, you don't know who you can and can't trust, because that's an inherently scary thing. And then the plotting is so tight, it's like murder mystery as well, because you're trying to figure out the clues that you're given as an audience member. When you think of horror, I think people can have a preconceived notion of what horror is. And don't get me wrong, there's jump scares and there's scares in there that are very traditional.
Incredible effects.
But it's also just so cerebral and so creepy. And the deftness with which this script is written. If you're just a general movie fan, you want to go and see some brilliant filmmaking, The Thing is it. And seeing it in 4K on the 40th anniversary of its release, on Halloween of all nights, I think that's the one.
Fun fact for you as well.
Please.
It is a John Carpenter movie where John Carpenter does not do the score.
No.
But I have seen him play it live.
Oh. So might as well have done.
I saw him play it on the Anthology tour, and it was superb. Because it sounds like a John Carpenter score.
Yeah.
And speaking of special screenings, between Friday the 28th and Sunday the 30th, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the 20th anniversary, can you believe?
That's a lot.
Also in 4DX.
And I think Harry Potter in 4DX is a delightful experience for anybody. If you've never, I know I say this every single time, but a movie that you know and love is elevated and new if you see it in 4DX. It's just a completely different experience. So much fun. Although the ankle ticklers in the spider sequence might be a bit too much for me.
This week's big releases: Barbarian, Pray for the Devil, speaking of ooky spooky season, and Bros, which you saw.
I have indeed seen the film Bros. So special. Actually, very important as well. Sometimes we forget to say how important I am.
My apologies. That's on me more than it is anyone else.
Thank you very much for admitting that. Yes, I have seen Bros. Bros is a romantic comedy film about a man who has founded the first ever LGBTQ history museum, and he is sort of done with relationships kind of thing. He's not really his vibe. And then he meets a fellow man at a bar who is also not really a relationship kind of person, and japes ensue kind of thing. It's a proper out-and-out rom-com. It's very original at this moment, but it points to a lot of the fantastic lexicon of rom-coms. There's Nora Ephron in there. It's produced by Judd Apatow, so there's some proper Judd Apatow comedy in there as well. It's a brilliant ensemble cast, Billy Eichner at the head, and there's some absolutely incredible LGBT icons in the cast as well. By design, they didn't want to tell the story without, offering, or even the straight characters in this are played by LGBT actors. It's just a fantastic, really fresh, really exciting, very funny film with a really heartfelt message at the middle of it. Yeah, I had a great time.
I adore Billy Eichner.
Yeah.
I think he's hysterically funny. Billy on the Street was like one of my favorite things he's ever done.
Yeah.
And then, the various movies and whatnot he's done. Like, he's always one of those actors that is never like the feature role of something. He's just like, a sub character within certain scenes and stuff.
Like, he's an impact player.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So it's really wonderful to see him be the leading man of this rom-com.
Yeah, and it's such a thought-out film. It's I've had the opportunity to sit down with the director and with Billy and Luke, the two leads. You'll see that soon, I'm sure. But what was really fun in talking to them is really understanding how the film came to be and what went into it, because it's clearly a labour of love. It's a very personal idea, and the director, who is a straight man, was very cautious to make sure that it wasn't just his voice asserting this is the experience. And as a result of the collaboration with Billy, with other people in the film as well, it's really opened it up and made it this really interesting, very honest, very funny film that really centers sort of Billy and his talents at the fore while shining a light on loads of other people. It really is this like kind of like labor of love and a love letter in a way to the rom-com while doing something completely different. The character Billy plays is named Bobby. I had this confirmed because I asked. Is named for the lead character in Stephen Sondheim's company. So it's not just classic film rom-coms, it's also the sort of romantic comedy musical as well. There's such real understanding of the genre, and it was just a lot of fun. And there are some proper belly laughs of physical comedy, of some really emotional moments where you're in there sucked into the drama of it all. And yeah, there was one scene in particular where I was really like taken by the message of what he was saying. Regardless of whether or not you're a member of the LGBT community, I think you're going to have a really fun night at the pictures seeing a movie like this.
Also out this week, The Banshees of Inisherin, Lyle Lyle Crocodile, Halloween Ends, Smile, and Black Adam, which we recently hosted the premiere of.
You are correct.
Here's what happened.
Oh, it's so good to be back in London. I feel like I started my career in London. It feels so rewarding and so gratifying to show everybody around the world this movie. It's been a passion project of mine for 15 long years.
Damn. It's a thrill ride. Trust me, this is the kind of movie you want to live in, the kind of movie you want to be fully immersed in and feel like you're actually there with us. If you want to feel like you got superpowers flying around doing your thing, 4DX, that's the way to go.
I love being able to watch a movie with a bunch of strangers and you all kind of get together for 2 hours and agree on something, which is that movie. And, you know, after a bucket of popcorn and 2 hours later, everyone comes out a little bit happier than they were before.
I look at other guys in these movies and fellow actors and think, wow, I'd love to be part of this landscape of storytelling. I said, yes, I'm in.
It was made for IMAX and it was made for the theaters. Now you hear that a lot, but in this case, I'll be there. Hold on 1 second.
It is a monstrous film. It's huge, and it's a film that should be experienced, not just watched.
This film is gorgeous. I think between Jalma, our director, and Larry, our DP, he also did Joker. Like, he's incredible. Visually, the film is like stunning.
It was made to be seen on the biggest screen with the best sound. It's truly awesome. It's a fun ride, and IMAX is the way to see it.
Dwayne Johnson, larger than life, Black Adam, introducing in JSA. It's a big blue sky movie that's a lot of fun and has really incredible, I think, themes and a heart inside of it.
We worked on it for so long, and there's a lot of passion in this project.
And I love that we're ushering in a new era in the DC universe.
The movie is already so massive and epic. If then you experience it 40x, it really could blow your mind.
Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. Hit the theater.
All black anything, you know my fresh coat.
And here we are. Thanks for having us.
But I do now have to ask you,
Yeah.
what is your pick of the week?
I will actually be picking Bros this week because I just had such a good time, and I think I know that you've got us covered on the scary front, so I've got us covered on the rom-com front. We're playing to type.
Yeah, well, I wanted to pick Bros as well because this is the movie. I'm really excited to see this movie, and so that was going to be my pick of the week. But I am picking The Thing.
I think you have to.
Yeah.
I think it's appropriate that you do.
It's Halloween season. It's spooky, scary skeletons.
Scary.
And I want to see The Thing up on the big screen. This 4K restoration. I cannot explain how excited I am.
I love the pictures. Pictures as well fun.
We've also got a bit of event cinema coming up with Coldplay Live, broadcasted from Buenos Aires on Saturday the 29th.
And the National Theatre Live's production of The Seagull on Thursday the 3rd.
But that's going to do it for this week's episode. You can check out all of the movies that we've discussed using the links in the video description down below. And, oh, Dan.
Oh.
What if there was a podcast version of this?
Do you know, I think that would be absolutely dreamy.
What if there was more chat in it?
That would be exactly what I'd be looking for from a podcast.
Well, you can find that on all good, bad, and mediocre podcast platforms. But we will see you in 7 days' time. I have been Lee Cohen.
Please hire me. Dan Layton.
And that's what's on.